Welcome to Lip Service for Contractors. Here you'll learn what moves the needle in your business. With your hosts, Brigham, the deep thinker, Josh, the $100 million contractor, Zach, the confused millennial, Laura, the foreigner. Lip service. It's not about dictatorship. It's about leadership. It's not about duplication. It's about innovation. It's not about stuff. It's about your people. Strap in and get ready for some lip service.
And we are back with another episode of Lip Service for Contractors. You guys, we got a phenomenal episode for business owners today. Now, that isn't to say that we don't want technicians and CSRs and everybody else to listen to this as well. And even your kids. You know what? Why not? Bring your kids to the show. You never know what they might learn. All right.
Brigham likes to curse. Don't.
That's right. I didn't curse. Did I?
I said Brigham likes to curse. Don't bring your kids.
That's so not true. You guys know that's not true. Those of you who've been listening to this show know that I tend not to curse. But back to my point, you guys, we got a phenomenal show for you today. And in this show, we're going to be talking about your business as business owners. And the two topics inside this podcast come down to the two types of business owners that we're going to talk about today, which is those lifestyle business owners versus the business owners who are more focused on profit. And so we're going to talk about these topics and a whole lot more for business owners. So all that and much, much more in 60 seconds. Chances are you love what you're hearing on Lip Service for Contractors. And if you want to go deeper, have an actionable playbook, or just want to learn from some of the most successful and profitable contractors in the industry, check out Clover Marketing from Josh and Laura. They give away free, amazing information, tools, SOPs, scripts, and processes that help their family business grow to over 140 million. And those same tools have helped other contractors in the industry blow up their business and grow an average of 20% every single year. Check out growwithclover.com/free gifts. They update the free gifts section all the time, so make sure you keep coming back.
Power Selling Pros is the customer service coaching company for contractors. Their one-on-one coaching for CSRs helps contractors book at least 85% of their calls and wow more customers. And their group training for technicians helps you create a better buying experience in the home and close more sales. Visit powersellingpros.com to learn more about how you can make more money with their coaching programs.
All right, welcome back, business owners. In addition to being a business owner, I'm sure at some point you thought to yourself, okay, what kind of business owner am I? Or even better yet, what kind of business do I want to build, right? Do I want to build it up to sell it? Or am I having so much fun that I don't want to sell it, right? And it's not a debate, it's just a conversation about what makes the most sense for you and why each one is fun and fulfilling. Of course, how we can make it fun and fulfilling, right? So guys, why don't we jump into this topic?
Yeah, so we're talking about really a business lifestyle, or business based off a lifestyle plan, and a business built for profit. And really, the third option is both, which is the right answer, but there's a pendulum, right? So it depends how far you want to go. So what are the odds me and Brigham aren't necessarily on the same page in this one?
Weird.
Pretty high. So I'll let Brigham start us off because he has a different style business than me, and a different business mentality than me.
All right, so let me just tell you guys how I came to this topic, and I'm glad that we all loved it and wanted to talk about it. So over the last 3 months or so, I've literally had 3 different investor companies approach me at Power Selling Pros and want to invest or even buy us out. And it made me start thinking about what I wanted to do with my business. You know, we're growing, we're doing well. We were able to respond well to COVID, and it's helped boomerang us into a whole new level that we haven't experienced yet. And I just love it because we're able to help so many contractors out. And so it forced me to think about what I want to do with my business, right? Where do I want to go? And it was interesting the way that they approached it, because they are about, using phrases like, 10X and taking it to a whole new level, and whether I needed some extra capital, right? I'm sure you guys have heard that phrase a billion times. Hey, you probably need extra capital and build a sales team and marketing team, so on and so forth, and speed up your growth. And as I started thinking about all that, I also began to notice how I would lose control of what I feel is an amazing opportunity. In my mind, an opportunity of a lifetime to positively affect the lives of a lot of contractors throughout the country, as well as in Canada, as well as in Australia. And I just kind of came to the conclusion that I am in a lifestyle business, meaning one that I love. And I really feel like I'm making a difference. And it helped me come to the conclusion with these investors that it's not something that I want to do right now. I love it. I love our growth. I love what we're doing for people. And I'm not willing to give that up. And I thought about, what kind of difference would it be to have $1 million in my bank versus, making a difference with this team that I love working with, right? My team. And I didn't want it. I mean, I don't have, personally, I don't have much use for money, other than to, keep food on the table. And I do that pretty well. I don't have many bills to speak of. I don't even have a mortgage. I'm not trying to brag or anything about that, but I'm just saying I'm good, right? I don't really need money. What I need is to continue to do what I'm doing, which is to make a difference in this world and to serve people. So that's kind of where I'm at. And it may be different and unique. And I'm sure that there's reasons why people are focused more on building it up and gaining a profit, selling it. And of course, that's where Josh comes in. So that's where I'm coming from on the lifestyle business.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Like a business, if you don't enjoy your life every day in your business, or most days at the very least, then you're not doing it properly. The truth is, we work too hard not to have fun every day, not to have stress. There's days where you can't help it, where bad things happen and it's out of your control, and you have bad days. But if that's most days, you're doing it wrong. So I think a business is both lifestyle and needs to be about profit. When I say needs to be about profit, I want to be really clear about this. If you don't have a healthy profit margin and you're not set up, maybe you decide you never want to sell. I have companies. I have a company that I work with. I freaking love the guy. His name is Jim in Alabama, has a 200-year-old plumbing and HVAC company. It's been in the family for over 200 years. He's never going to sell. Never, ever, ever. And that's amazing and awesome. But I'm still going to have the same conversation with him as like, you never know what's going to happen. You're one minor accident, incident, option away from something terrible happening and that's not existing. And the truth is, even if that never happened, you have to build your business where it could be sold. The reason you have to build your business where it could be sold, because let's define what could be sold means. It means it's a predictable business, which makes it a lot more fun. It's a profitable business, which means you have the room for growth and to change people's lives, like Brigham said, right? If you don't have profitability, it's not a good position to be in. You can't change nearly as much as you want, right? And it has to be scalable for it to be able to grow. And if it's not scalable, if you're not growing, I believe that you're slowly dying, and that's no fun either. So you always have to position yourself to be sold. It doesn't mean you have to do it, but you have to be profit focused. You also have to be lifestyle focused. You can't grind for 10 years just to make a profit and hate your life every day. That's no way of living either. So I think it's kind of a combination of both. And I would always say this, and I think we've had this conversation before, but if this is the first time you've ever heard this, always have an exit strategy. I can tell you from from personal lifestyle things that happen to me. Brigham, the same. Sometimes things are out of your control, and you'd like to think you control everything, but you don't. And you always have to have a plan for, if I was in this business tomorrow, what does that look like? And a lot of people that's selling it, that's most people, but it's not everyone, but that needs to be well defined too. So like, I think a lifestyle business and a profit business, doing one or the other is a mistake. You have to be doing both, because it's just no way to live if you don't. I mean, that's just a terrible lifestyle.
Quick comment on that. If people want to know how to, build a business that is at least sellable, even if you don't want to sell it, what's the jam session that we did, Josh?
Oh, it was with oh my gosh, I'm blanking his name right now.
I am too. Jamie Domenico.
Yeah, Dave Domenico.
You're welcome to reach out to that. Again, our members pay us for that, so we can figure something out though, because I think it's very powerful, and we need and want to get that message out to people. Funny, we're having this conversation. Josh and I literally this morning realized that we're not even having enough fun in our business. And
which to be clear, we have a lot of fun, but like we started realizing like we're starting to become too serious
totally
in the office, right? Like and we've gotten virtual. So like the skills that we had to make it fun was a lot to do with being near each other. And we have a spread out team. How do we make that fun and make it more universal and more spreadable and more scalable, right?
Right. So such a simple strategy that we used this morning, and literally Josh is never down, went from being a little down to like being overjoyed within the space of like 30 minutes. And all we did was we mapped out on a whiteboard, how could we find the fun in our business and in our lives while growing our business? So we now have built this entirely into our culture, and our team members are now involved in finding the fun. And that's literally that's just something we did for 30 minutes. And Josh, who went from a person who's never down, who was down, and 30 minutes later he was like, this is the best company ever. We've so much fun. And it was just that. It was that strategy of like, let's map out, how do we find the fun? Yeah. So yeah, I think it's so important to not just have a business to make you profit, but it's got to be enjoyable.
By the way, if you're on our email list or go to our website or any of that stuff, start expecting, and don't be surprised when you see a whole bunch of FTF everywhere for Find the Fun. Yeah, we're systematizing.
Like so I'm a little confused. How do you define a lifestyle business versus not? I'm a little confused on what the difference is there now.
So in my mind, a lifestyle business is I have this business to support what I want to do in my lifestyle. So a lifestyle business, the purest sense of the form is I want a guy that loves to travel. He builds a business where he doesn't have to be in the office very often. That's a lifestyle business. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's built for profit, where they're making money, they're sustaining his salary and doing well and probably making a little profit, but it's not sellable. So a good example would be like, you've seen like now this is an extreme version, but like Tony Robbins, right? Tony Robbins has a ton of businesses, and there's lots of Tim Ferriss, another example, right? He has a ton of businesses. So this isn't his, but his one major business is speaking, right? That is a lifestyle business. He gets to travel. He gets to help people. That's what he loves to do. But that is designed to help him do what he wants to do. And now that's a profitable business too, right? But so many people like that do that because they enjoy traveling and they enjoy spending time and enjoy speaking on stage. If Tony doesn't speak on stage, that business folds. Yeah. It's a lifestyle business, which by the way, that's an amazing lifestyle business. Like probably the best example I probably could ever put together. There's ones where it doesn't work out nearly that well, and that's most of them, right?
Tony is a good example, but I would argue that Tim is a better example. Tony is more successful, yes, for sure, but I don't think. I think if you want just lifestyle, which we obviously were recommending both, that's what Tim is all about.
Yeah, Tim Ferriss is like the direct example of only a lifestyle business. Now he makes money too.
He's done extremely well for himself. But again, it started with lifestyle first, profit second.
Right.
I would encourage you to do both simultaneously. But if you're a person who's not having so much fun in your business and it's been all profit driven and it feels like a grind and Mondays are not as fun to look forward to, Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek, short book, but it gives you like actionables that you can actually incorporate into your life right now to actually allow your business facilitate your life. And I spoke with so many contractors recently, and their wives see them, they're working hard and they're consistently working hard, but they don't get to enjoy their hard work or the fruits of their hard work, because there is no fun, and they don't make that time for fun with their families because it's all about the grind, it's all about the profit. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how we can facilitate more of both for contractors.
Another big differentiator between a business built on lifestyle and a business built for profit is the sellability. That Tim Ferriss's business, not sellable.
Totally.
It's either Tim Ferriss or not. Like,
and
that business folds without him. It cannot be handed to someone else.
That's the concern with and that's the concern with branding too. And I think it's something that would be
branding behind a person, kind of. I mean, if it's an overall brand, no, it could be a figurehead, right?
That's what I'm saying. So like so I'd love to, this is just a question I want to put out to you guys. So for instance, HVAC owner, they're considering branding their company and they're going to be the face. Mm-hmm. Does that make that business less sellable?
No.
I took a training on this from a past player, Ryan Dice. Yeah. He has a thing called the character diamond. You guys heard of it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So the character diamond is essentially, and Brigham, you and I did this once. We created a character diamond. It's about how to separate the personality of the owner from the company itself, so that even if it has a face, it's still sellable. It's still differentiated.
Yeah, it can't be, when you brand under you, it can't be purely you. It has to be a character you, as weird as that sounds. So it can separate. And by the way, character diamond, if anybody wants to know about that, like that's what they do in, like, not to be stereotypical, but like Hollywood, like every major part gets a character diamond. It defines who that person is, not just by their lines, but like the back the scenes. What do they feel like? What's their personality? What drives them? Which is really powerful to do for marketing, both for, if you're going to do it, put your face out there, what that character's role is, and what the business's character diamond is too, which is really powerful. So a good example, like the Hustos in San Diego, right? They're the face of the company, is the Wake Life guys. And Ken is a super fun guy. Phil is pretty serious. You look at those commercials, that's not their personalities in real life. You know what I mean? They're playing a character to stick out and to be memorable. It's not like it's still sellable. I mean, they just sold.
Right. Yeah, so, you can make it work. You can make it work, and I appreciate Josh bringing that up. Now this brings back a past experience I had back in 2015. In 2015, my company plateaued, and I know that there isn't one listener that could possibly relate to my company plateauing. So we plateaued for the second year in a row. Plus, not only did we make the same amount of money in gross, we spent a whole lot more money in that second year. And so I was feeling pretty down and uncomfortable, and wondered if I should give it up, try something else. And it wasn't, it didn't have anything to do except with the fact that I was the one doing all the traveling. I was the one doing the speaking. And it was great, right? Because everybody wanted to hear me, and it's good to feel wanted. But whenever you're in an airplane more than your car, you need to consider, if that's the direction that you want to go, right? Or if you wake up in a hotel and you're not sure where the heck you're at, which city you're in. That's where I was. I was not in a good place. My health wasn't very good. My family life was not good. And I needed to make a change. And so I had a buddy, a really good friend of mine, refer me to Johnny Covey. And Johnny Covey is the grandnephew of Stephen R. Covey, believe it or not. And so he charged me $1,000 a day, and we'd spend the full day. And the first time we said, it was interesting because he said, I want to come and work in your home. Now, this is before COVID. You know, this is when we were uncomfortable with the idea of somebody coming to our home. I thought of that Saturday Night Live skit where, you know, that speaker that lived down by a river is going to come to your home and teach your people, right? What was it, Chris Farley? It's going to be great. We're going to be buds. We're going to be pals, you know, that sort of thing. I was like, holy crap, this guy's coming into my house, and why am I doing this? So he comes to my house, and he sits down. He says, all right, Brigham, what's going on? What do you want? And I was like, well, I want to build a profitable business without me, you know, being front and center, having to do all the work. And he said, okay, cool. How are you going to do that? In the back of my head, I'm going, I'm paying you $1,000, pal. You better tell me how I'm going to do it, right? And he said, as we started talking, he just kept asking how, and then finally, I started to realize what he was doing. He wanted me to start believing in my ability to come up with the answers on my own. And I spent an entire year with this guy. Every Monday, turned off my phone, and just crazy thing, worked on my business. And as I forced myself to do that, I began to create the business that I wanted. You know, I became the architect of my own business. Instead of it running me, I began to run it. And it was a life-changing experience. In 2016, we doubled in revenue and made more money as well. And of course, the rest is history. 40 employees and 4 trainers that do most of the training now. And I have the ability to do exactly what you guys are working on, which is having fun. And I'll share a quote with you guys. And then I believe Laura wanted to say something. And so let me read this quote. It says, the master in the art of living makes little distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his information and his recreation, his love and his religion. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence at whatever he does, leaving others to decide whether he is working or playing. To him, he's always doing both. When I found that quote, that describes what I do for a living.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And it's all day, every day, right? And so
here's a question for you.
Yeah.
There's many people out there that obviously have a desire to have that too, but they don't know how. So give us what the how.
Great question. If you have the discipline to do it without a guy like Johnny Covey, that's awesome. You need to take time where you literally turn off your phone, and it's not a little bit of time, it's a lot of time, and begin to process through what you know, what you know and what you believe. And then what you do is you take what you know and what you believe, right? What you feel and what you're thinking. And then you begin to just create a blueprint for what it should like, what you want it to look like. And then you just start kind of working backwards. Now, this takes time. You know, this is why when we tell people to, hey, build a vision, have a purpose and mission, they're like, yeah, I need to do that. And they never do, because they never take the time necessary to make that work. And so I'd say that if you don't have the discipline, you need to hire a coach.
Yeah. I always explain this because this is a common problem. Like, you know, people want help, but they are not willing to put the time into actually improving the business, right? And the reason they're doing that is because they're not set up well. And we're just being honest on this podcast. Like, they're just not systematized. They don't have the proper tracking. They don't have the predictability in their business. They're putting out fires all day, every day, right? And that's most business owners in the space. By the way, that's most business owners in general, not just in this space. And I have to have this conversation with them is like, your job right now is putting out fires, and that's just not a way to run a business or a way to live. It's a terrible way to live. You need to focus on fire prevention, and you need to take the time to do that. And sometimes that means you let things burn while you do that. And that's a hard thing for people to accept. But if it's not that important, which by the way, almost there's nothing in our businesses. No one dies if the AC doesn't get fixed right away, or very, very, very rarely where is in the health issue, right? Things are less urgent than you think. And the moment you realize that, it becomes a lot easier. We're not that important. None of us, as terrible as that sounds. But you have to switch to fire prevention instead of, putting out fires. Otherwise, you're just going to keep putting out that same fire over and over again. I mean, I have a philosophy, and Laura knows this, and I hammer her on this regularly, right? And she's adopted it now, but it took a while. My basic philosophy is anything can happen once. Anything. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Things are out of our control. We make mistakes. Anything can happen once. In fact, anything can happen twice. At any given time, it could happen twice in life of business. I'm totally okay with that, but it should never happen a third time. The first time is a one-off, crazy one-off things. I'm not going to fix a one-off. I'm going to put out that fire. The second time, it's no longer a one-off. This will happen again. I'm going to put something in place, do some fire prevention, making sure it never happens a third time, a fourth, a fifth, a 10th, a 100th. So that's kind of my thought. And the conversation they have is like, well, how do you pick which ones? Or like, how do I make the time for that? It's like, you're spending the time now.
There's
realize it, but you are.
There's every time that we, especially when we go to a contractor's shop, they continually are getting calls like the whole day long. And so many of the questions are the exact same questions. And it's just like, heck, how do you get anything done in the day? And these are the conversations I ask them these questions. And so now what we encourage, especially our private clients and then all the jam session members that show up on our coaching calls, you have to train your employees out of that. So anything you find yourself doing more than any question you find yourself answering more than once, create an SOP for it or a video for it and file it somewhere. And anytime someone calls you for something that you already have a recorded answer for, send them there.
Yeah, so don't answer.
You don't answer, send them there, and eventually they rely less upon you and they become more independent. And not just that, they choose to go into problem solving mode more often, and it makes your job so much more scalable because really all you're doing is working in your business if you're consistently answering the phone to questions that they know the answer to, or they could know the answer to if you facilitated recording that video and training them to go there.
You'd be surprised how often in a consultation visit, we do like 2-day consultation visits, charge $5,000 for them right now. And it's literally, they get those phone calls and they get off the phone call. I'll allow them to take the phone call. And it's like, were you the best person to answer that? Like, is that worth your time, or could someone else answer that? And like, sometimes I'll ask that question like 15 times in a day, and then they'll hang up the phone and be like, I shouldn't have taken that call. Like, they're answering themselves like, okay, then why did you? Yeah. You still answered the question, right? You're still reinforcing the bad habit.
Just find a tool. A lot of contractors find videos quicker, which they are. There's a tool called loom.com. And you literally can record yourself on your computer screen, telling them the answer to whatever, or showing them the back end of ServiceTitan and showing them how to do it, or whatever that might be. Use that tool, and then it generates a little link for you, and save that link in an Excel or in a folder. That tool is a really quick way to create SOPs. You don't even have to write this SOP out. Yes, obviously that's more ideal, but heck, it's certainly not ideal for you to consistently be answering the same questions every single day.
Another thing too, to go back to Brigham, sorry, is, coaching. I think coaching is a huge, it's so underused. So many people know they need help, but they don't choose. I used to have a business partner, and I totally take this to heart, but you borrow first for anything you do. If you can't borrow it, then you buy it. And only third and last option is you build it. It's so much cheaper to buy it. When I say buy it with coaching, like, there's people who know things you don't know. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. They may not know everything about your business, but certain sections, you are not the expert at anything in certain sections, right? There's someone better than you, I guarantee it. Better than me, better than Brigham, better than all of us, right? Hire that person and close your learning gap. figuring out something in 2 weeks as opposed to 2 years is a big cost saving, almost no matter the actual price to it. So I'm a big fan. I try to keep 2 mentors or coaches at all times in my life. One is one I want to be like, and one's one I want to learn a skill from. Like a good example, and this is ridiculous, but like I'm obsessive. Laura's certainly obsessive. My father is very good at ping pong, and we got a good buddy named Jody who's ridiculous at ping pong. And I got tired of losing to him. So we hire the number 1 player in Arizona for ping pong that comes over every Saturday morning and gives us
Ishmael,
a lesson.
if you're listening to this, we're going to beat you consistently.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
So one thing I've noticed, I have a question about how you guys handle this when you see this in companies, is that lots of businesses, and this trickles down to their employees too, they take pride in their busyness. They wear it like a badge of honor that they're working late into the night and on weekends. And they talk, when you ask, how's it going? They're like, oh, surviving. Like, oh, we're all so busy. It's just crazy. And it's like a badge of honor, right? They're really, at least they act like they're proud of the fact that they're overwhelmed. And right. I feel like people are lying when they tell me that, like, oh, working really, really hard, but you can tell it's just not enjoyable.
My initial thought there was, I think they need to reframe. So they feel busy. They feel important because they're busy. Exactly. But in fact, their job is less important if they are only engaging in the busy things, because if they were engaging in actually building systems and strategies, they're creating a more successful business, which gives all their people a greater opportunity to grow and improve the quality of their lives. So I think it's a perspective shift they need.
I think I'm going to answer this in a complicated way because Zach, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people value hey, being busy. That's how they get justification. Like they purposely set themselves up as the choke point where things have to run through them because it's a way for them to feel important. Right. Yeah. And if that's what you want to do and that's what you want to be, I say this all the time, you could do anything you want as long as you understand the benefits and the consequences. If that's how you feel important is being the choke point, and for the rest of your life, you're going to be the choke point, and your business will never really be that successful or grow that much or be that profitable. It's awfully hard for me to argue with you. I get that mentality, but what I would argue is, why does that make you feel empowered? I think you feel way more empowered if you're really honest with yourself by empowering other people. It feels way different and it feels way better. And when you empower over other people, you work less hours, or you work on more important things, or you move the needle more. And isn't that just a way better way of living anyway?
Yes.
The thing is, I feel like people, everybody has a habit for a reason, and it's either be it good or bad because they feel like it's serving them in some way. Mm-hmm. So this habit of being the bottleneck is serving people in a way, and I think, and I could be incorrect, it allows them feel needed. Yeah. So it's how can they again, why I think it's a perspective shift. If they shifted their perspective and if they were able to build the strategies and build the systems, in fact, they'd be needed a whole lot more because they're facilitating a greater quality of life for the people. And I can
providing a lot more value, not necessarily needed more.
Right.
And I think this goes back to something that Brigham talks about all the time, right? You have to be a leader worth following. And if you're really honest and you want to be an amazing business person, you have to start by being an amazing person. And if you're not working on yourself and you have an unhealthy need to feel important by being a bottleneck, that takes a reevaluation of am I really the best version of myself? Am I making the biggest difference I can? Am I really, providing as much value to my team, to my customers, to the world as I can?
I hope that our listeners are just really listening to what's being said here, because this is exactly where I was in 2015. I'll give you guys another example. A few years back, I went to the Speakers Association. Now, why the heck would I go to a Speakers Association? Because I thought for sure that I was going to be a speaker, right? So I go to this event and Jason Hewitt happens to be there. Phenomenal speaker. In fact, he was the speaker of the year, I don't know, a few years back. He's written several books on, one book's called The Promise, right, Zach?
Yeah.
Excellent speaker. Great guy. In fact, he lives in my neighborhood, believe it or not. But he invited me there. And when I went, I thought, okay, cool. I'm going to be a speaker like these guys. And then I started to get to know these speakers. In fact, one point when Jason introduced me to another speaker, he said, hey, this is Brigham. He actually has it figured out where he doesn't have to do everything himself. And guess what? That was the last time I went to a speakers association.
So most people won't relate to this, right? But I know, Brigham, you'll relate to this. At one point I was doing quite a bit of speaking too, right? And there's nothing worse than like I didn't plan my schedule, right? I had team members set up my flights, my hotel, everything. And I can't tell you how many times I would land in a city and then I'd be like, I'd call them like, hey, why am I here? What hotel am I staying in? Like, what am I talking about tomorrow? It's like a terror. No, you get good enough for that. But like being a speaker is actually a terrible life.
Yes.
It's not what I want in any way. Like you're never home. You don't get to experience that. So you're like, oh, you get to travel over the world. I'm like, no, I see the inside of a conference room, inside a business, inside of an auditorium, inside of a stadium. It's not fun.
It's not scalable necessarily. But then you can argue, you see people, I think it's kind of unrelated to our audience, speaking and stuff, but I've seen people build a great life for themselves because they've sold a product and it's been recurring, which again, we always speak about the importance of having recurring products. It's just why maintenance agreements are so bloody loved in our industry. So I don't know, there's pros and cons to every endeavor.
Yeah. And I would say that it's incredibly relevant to what we're talking about, because you're going to have owners that haven't quite built a business where they don't have to do any of the work. And that's the point, where speakers, if that's what they want to build, great. That's what they want to build it. And you know what? There's tons of them out there. There are the Tony Robbins and the Simon Sinek's and even the Zig Ziglars. But when Zig Ziglar died, was the Zig Ziglar company like it was when he was alive? And I would say no. Zig Ziglar was amazing. He was incredible, right? But the minute he passed away, it changed things. And so when Josh brought up, being the type of leader that people are willing to follow, that's really what it's all about. And that's what I realized when I went to that speakers association. I realized that I actually had what they wanted, and there was no reason for me to be there. So
sorry to, I didn't mean, what I didn't mean was, I meant the speaker thing is unrelated, but I actually think exactly when you realize you didn't need to be there was because they were looking up to you. Because I think you're totally right that you can't be the only one that's running the show.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I knew that's what you were getting at.
Okay, good. I didn't want you to be like, oh, that was a silly point.
No, it was a great point. Point. So yes, leaders need followers in order to be a leader. So if we can get to the point where we actually take time to construct what that business looks like, where and the litmus test is how long can you be gone and it still run just as well or even better than you left it. And that's a good litmus test to see how independently your company runs.
Here's a question. So with contractors, we're talking about leverage right now. We're talking about how to make it so that your business can operate without you, so that you can live that life that you want to. Is having employees and people to do the work for you the only form of leverage that a contractor can access?
Absolutely not. Of course not.
What else is there other than
there's systems, there's software, there's companies right now that make millions of dollars of profit a year, have a great lifestyle, and all they do is the sales side of the business, and then they farm out the installs and they farm out the other work. Adding people is the way that people do it in this industry, but look at other industries. It's not the only way to make yourself scalable. And when you start looking outside this industry, sometimes it's hard to like, well, that doesn't apply. It's like, maybe not entirely, but some of it does.
Mm-hmm.
Can we steal that piece of it? Of course you can. So people is how our industry tends to do it now, but it won't be the way they do it forever. And just being honest, it's just not. Business is changing, and our industry is late adapters. But there will be a time where people become less important to growing an HVAC business. They'll always be important, but they'll be less important because, I mean, think of it this way, right? Think about the software that exists now. You know, the Service Titan, the Successware, the Field Nimble, the Field Edge, whatever, right? There was a time not that long ago where when you went from job to job, you had a map book. And when you finished your job, you left that job and you drove to a payphone. You called into the office. You found out what your next call is. You got the phone number for the next call. You called the customer and asked for directions to their house. That was not that long ago. And you had a pager. Well, hey, here's the phone number. That was an improvement after that. But like, we're not talking like 50 years ago difference. You know what I mean? When I was in the industry, like map books were the thing. We had the Nextels where they beeped each other, right? That was the big thing when I first started. But think about how much more business became scalable when we were able to route or not handwrite invoices, or the hundreds or not thousands of improvements our industry had. That's not going to slow down. You know what I mean? And I want to do one thing, and this is a little unusual, but I'm not going to make a book recommendation, but I'm going to make it to the listeners, to everybody listening right now, but I'm going to do it specifically because I know he will love this book to death. To Brigham. You ever read the book, The Dream Manager?
Tell me about it.
I don't want to tell you about it. I want you to read it.
All right.
This book is so far up your alley, they might as well have named it the Brigham book.
All right, now
I think they just made a mistake, Josh, really.
Yeah, it's misspelled.
Yeah,
The Dream Manager. It was supposed to be Brigham. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to sign them up for Grammarly or something.
Matthew Kelly, is that it?
Yeah, Matthew Kelly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have our whole team reading it.
Yeah. That it's we don't have a retention issue with our business. Like literally, I think we've had 2 people cancel in the history of the company, which is ridiculously small.
Amazing.
But we're like, we read that book, is like, I guess we got to improve our retention program because this is such a brilliant idea. And Laura's like, we need to prioritize this. I'm like, we don't have a retention issue. Like, I don't know if we really need to prioritize it, but I really like the
It's
idea.
a wonderful concept. Wait till you read the book.
Yeah.
And well, I think that wraps up our podcast, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. There's all different kinds of theories as to whether a lifestyle business or a profit business is better. Heck, why choose when you could have both? So I hope that was helpful, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate your time. We know you're busy. Reach out to us either on Power Selling Pros or Clover. We got you. If we don't have the answers, we'll make sure we can find someone who does. And until next time, thank you, guys. Stay busy. Take care. And Josh, finish it off by telling them to
Go change the world.
There we go.
Thank you for listening to Lip Service for Contractors. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to leave us a review in the App Store and don't forget to share with your friends. Ideas are cheap. Implementation is what separates the winners from the watchers. Go out and implement these ideas. See you on the next episode of Lip Service for Contractors.